On this video, I'm going to show you how to rebuild a 93 Del Sol SI rear brake caliper. This will work for 92 through 95 Civics SIs as well. We're going to start by taking off those 12 mils and then take off the slider pins, take off the boots. Then there's two more 12 mils right here. Take this little bracket off. We're going to need a pair of pliers to remove this spring, and then a 17 mil to release this nut. Then to take out the piston, we're going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and just twist. There is a fancy tool, but I didn't feel like buying that. And then we're going to inspect for damage. If you have a lot of damage, you're going to need to replace the piston. I knew that I was going to have to replace these pistons, so I already ordered a new set. And please take a second to like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really does help me out. We use our long nose ring clamp pliers. I'll provide a link to these in the description below. We pull the C-clamp, the spring, and the retainer. Set those aside. We're going to pull this screw out that's used for the emergency brake system. And we're going to have to get the plunger out that's inside of there. Luckily, I did run into a problem removing mine, so I'm going to show you the solution that I came up with to actually get it removed. You have to remove the piston that's inside of the caliper before you can remove that shaft. So what I started by doing was filling it up with 70% alcohol just to clean everything up and see what I'm working with. And I tried multiple different things. I tried hot gluing this plunger in. Hot glue didn't work, so eventually I moved over to RTV and just kind of loaded up pretty good. There you go. I used a Q-tip to cover the plunger and then set it in there, make sure it seats. I wanted to go pretty hard on the RTV, honestly, because my piston was stuck pretty bad. And then we set it in there, and I let it set for, I think, like 2 days before I even attempted to pull it out. So as you can see, the plunger's still not wanting to move with the RTV holding the screw mechanism. Gently with the pliers, because I wasn't trying to mar up the screw, I was able to pull it, pull the shaft out, and I was able to eventually get the little plunger out. And keep this little pill. It's used to actuate the emergency brake. Then I just kind of popped off the RTV. Sorry for the bad shot. And once I got the RTV out, I just used the brass wire wheel, just kind of clean it up as best I could. Hopefully you won't have to go through this, and you won't have to resort to the RTV to get the plunger setup out. If you end up having to use the RTV, make sure you clean every single hole really thoroughly. Make sure to get all the RTV out. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the old seal out. Use a little pick. There she is. Now I'm going to use some LA's Totally Awesome distilled water and a hot tank. If you don't have access to these, you can use wire brushes, brake cleaner, and just really get in there and clean the brakes. I'm going to go ahead and throw pretty much everything in. The only thing that I don't throw in is the ball bearing plate, because I was afraid that would mess up. Throw in pretty much everything except for the ball bearing. This is just the distilled water. Alright, turned on the heater, set it for 30 minutes. Go ahead, put the lid on, and let it run. You can see the dirt is already starting to come off it. Not even 30 seconds in. So I ran it, I think 2 or 3 times. Moved it around here and there. So after this run, I went ahead and I refreshed all the water, rinsed everything off. Going to give it another run. So here's the LA's Totally Awesome, the parts. So I did something stupid here. That was vinegar and then distilled water. I thought that the acidity from the vinegar would, help clean everything. It ended up rusting everything. So learn from my mistakes, stick to, safe degreasers. Don't try anything stupid like I did. And you'll see here shortly how rusty everything came out. But it's okay, because I was going to start wire wheeling everything anyway, even after this. But you can see absolutely everything was covered with rust. Thankfully, it was pretty much surface rust though, so it cleaned up pretty fast. So I'll go ahead, clamp everything in the vise, and this is a tool you should definitely get. It's like $15. I'll have the link below. It's a brake cylinder hone, so it lets me clean up the cylinder walls. Since there was some pitting on the piston, I just wanted to make sure everything was as good and clean as possible. So you go ahead and put that in there and you spin it. Make sure you lube it up some. I used alcohol. You can use alcohol, WD-40, anything. But since this is a brake system, you have to make sure any oils that go inside get cleaned out. So that's why I went ahead and used alcohol, because it evaporates really fast. You can see the inside of the cylinder cleaning up pretty good. Not any rust on it. After that, went ahead and hit all the brake parts with the brass wire wheel. hit all the sliders, hit the retainer, pretty much everything except for the ball bearings. Went ahead, hit the calipers. I ended up sandblasting this bracket and the 17mm nut. This is completely optional, of course. You can use the wire wheel or whatever general cleaning equipment you have. I'm just doing all these steps because I ended up painting my calipers while I had them off the car. But if you're just doing brake maintenance, this is not a super crucial step. I would say the more crucial aspects would be just making sure that the inside of the cylinders are super clean. That way your new seals will seat correctly. Here I am just sandblasting the nut now. Next, I'm going to prep for paint. I'm using a silicone stopper in the main bearing hole. I'm using tape instead of stoppers on the bleeders and the mounting points because I wanted to make sure that the mounting surfaces stayed clean of any paint. That way, when I put the new crush washers on and everything had a nice seal. Next, we're just going to go ahead and paint. I'm using some AutoZone brake caliper paint. Nothing special, it's about 15 bucks a can. The reason I didn't worry about masking off the inside of the cylinder is because we're still going to go back over that with the brake cylinder hone and the brass wire wheel to clean up any of the seal seats. This is just the e-brake lever. Once everything dries, just going to go ahead and inspect it. Going to clean up inside here some more. Let's go ahead and pull out the silicone stopper. Then we're going to carefully remove the tape. Now we're going to address the inside of the caliper again. This time, same procedure. A little bit of alcohol. And this just needed a quick go. Now I'm just making sure I get everything out of there, make sure it's really clean. Clean it up with some alcohol and paper towel. Make sure that the seal seat is super clean too. That's what the brass brush is for. Just giving it a complete flush, making sure all the debris is out. Next, I'm going to pull my seal kit. Now there's an O-ring that goes on the plunger here. And there's a special O-ring that's going to go onto the spiral. This O-ring has a cut in it. That cut will face the spiral. There you go, she's seated all nice. This is the seal that goes inside of the caliper. I'm using silicone grease. Just putting some on the seal there. Unfortunately, my kit did not come with a seal for the emergency brake actuator shaft, the little metal piece that you'll see me put in here shortly. But I will link a kit that does include the emergency brake actuator shaft seal. There's my new piston. I'll have the link for that below as well. Going to put some more silicone on the needle roller bearing that's inside of there. Want to make sure it's lubed up nicely, because this is essentially part of your emergency brake system right here. Make sure to put silicone in all the metal on metal contact points inside the little plunger here. On this seal for the spiral shaft. And put some on the piston itself as well. Just a light coat. Now here is where I messed up. Before you put this shaft back in, put the seal on the hole, because it will be harder later if you don't do it now. Here you see me thinking about the seal, and I decided not to put it on. That was a mistake. But anyway, take the peel, make sure it is lubed up too, and then place it in the plunger. The silicone should be enough to hold it. And you're going to drop the plunger down in there. Make sure the alignment pins line up to the holes that are inside of the caliper. I used my finger to seat it, and I was twisting back and forth with that until I could feel the resistance, and the plunger inside was actuating while I was moving the shaft. Once it's seated, we're going to go ahead and take the spiral shaft. Going to put the little ball bearing on it. Then the super thin flat washer. Then we're going to put the spring skinny side down and the retainer. Going to go ahead and drop it in. Make sure it seats into the plunger. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the retaining ring back in. Going to drop it down as far as we can, and when we release it, the side near the pliers should catch. And then I'm going to use a flathead to just make sure that I seat the rest of the ring. You want to make sure that it's really secure. You'll feel it kind of snap into place. Alright. Just making sure it's completely seated. Here's me putting the seal on that I mentioned earlier. I just cut out about 15 minutes of video. I'm going to take a little bit of the silicone, put it on the spiral shaft. Just make sure it's got good lubrication because you don't want anything to bind. I'm going to put it inside the piston as well. Next, we're going to slip this dust cover on. The smaller of the two rings is going to go towards the bottom of the piston because that's what slips in. So it's going to go that direction right there. But we're going to put it on over the top, and you'll understand why in a second. So go ahead, slip it over the piston. And then pull it down towards the bottom. Alright, you want to have that ring setting below the piston because you have to seat that in this top landing ring right here. And it makes it a whole lot easier when you have it on the piston already. So just go ahead and kind of work it in. Make sure everything seats. Then once it's in, just go ahead and push the piston down. And we're going to use our needle nose pliers again. I'm going to go all the way down, and once it lands, I'm just going to bring it back up a hair. There we go. Next, we're going to work on this part of the brake. I do not know what it's called, but we're going to go ahead and get the new grease seals. Then we're using some Seal Glide to lube up the inside. I did notice that I missed some paint on this. After the video content was recorded, I went back and painted this caliper a little bit more. So we're going to take our new dust seals, and the ring that has the 3 little slits is going to go inside the caliper piece. Same thing for the other side. After that, we're going to go ahead and seal glide up the slide pins. You don't want to put too much because it can hydro lock. So you can see I got some air captured in there. I'm going to take my little pick and just open the top enough to get the air out. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. A little bit of seal glide, not too much, not too little. Put it in, rinse and repeat. There we go. This is bluing liquid. I'll have a link posted below, but I'm going to put the nut in and blue it. So this is like a form of chemical oxidation. And once you have it all blued, go ahead, give it a quick little cleaning. And then you're going to drop it in oil for at least 12 hours. I dropped it in for a couple of days. When it comes out, clean everything off. I may go back and replace these with new nuts and new washers. I just didn't feel like spending the, $5 each piece at the time. So this is high temp copper anti-seize. Just going to put a little bit on the shaft threads. Next, you're going to have to drop this plate on. At first, I tried it with the ring pliers. Didn't really work that well, so I swapped over to a different set of pliers because you have to make it line up. There you go. Just slip it on real quick. Lock washer, nut, and then hit it with a quick little ugga dugga from the 17 mil. Go. She's locked in. I went ahead and replaced the springs. This is a brand new spring. I'll have links below. Then we're going to go ahead and put the 12 mils back in. There's flat sides on the sliders. Make sure they line up parallel with the flat sides on the caliper. And then just send those 12 mils home. Once again, if you found this helpful, please like, subscribe, share, or comment. It would really help me out a lot.